Time is running out to reach a deal on the debt ceiling. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill. What negotiators are saying about the latest talks.
And the sun is back, and it's here to stay for a couple days. I've got your weekend forecast coming up here in just a few minutes.
Telling your story, WCBI News at 5 starts now.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We'll get to the debt ceiling talks in a moment. First at 5, the death investigation into a Houston teenager continues with law enforcement searching for answers today. 16-year-old Denasia McGregory was found in the trunk of a car Tuesday morning. The discovery happened in a daycare parking lot on Stone Street in Tupelo. Now, sources tell WCBI this investigation now spans 3 counties, including Chickasaw and Clay counties. A suspect, 19-year-old LeBrandon Tumlin, was detained. We're also being told that after he was found, Tumlin was taken to the hospital for treatment. Some of McGregory's belongings were located outside of Tupelo. Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott says they are working on piecing a timeline together that led to this homicide.
Right now, we're just focusing on trying to get a timeline and basically the events that happened that day that led up to the homicide of this young lady. So it takes a little time to get this done. Fortunately, like I said right here, we've got multiple agencies that's all working together as one to try to get a resolution on this.
Meantime, Lee County Coroner Carolyn Green is still waiting on an autopsy to be completed on the victim. As summer approaches, crime involving teenagers increases dramatically. A recent study shows that teens are more likely to die from gun violence than any other cause. Columbus Police Chief Joseph Daughtry says teenagers with guns is a problem facing the entire country right now. He also says parents have to be more proactive in their children's behavior.
I'm tired of making death notifications over my 27 years to parents about their children. I'm tired of locking up young black men that could possibly have a future because they're hanging with the wrong crowd. It's time for parents to be parents and quit being their friends. It's time for us to get together as a community.
Now, Chief Daughtry is urging the public to notify the Columbus Police Department if you think you recognize any of these stolen guns as yours. We'll have more on that story coming up at 6 o'clock. Well, gun crimes are not the only trouble that law enforcement officers encounter with teenagers during these summer months. Burglaries and other crimes also tick up. Our legal analyst, Jeff Hosford, is joining us with a message similar to what we just heard there from the chief of police there. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. His message was parents just have to know what's happening.
Yes, ma'am. The old adage of who, what, when, where, and why, the 5 W's will always work during the summer. Obviously, all the children are out. They're excited to be out. They don't have much to do. So the first thing they do is they go hang out with their friends. So there entails the beginning of the issues. Kids sometimes do things that they're not supposed to. So what the police chief and many others are asking is to ask your children what's going on, who they're hanging out with, and what we can do to help them not get into trouble.
Many municipalities in our area have a curfew in place for teenagers. It's up to parents also to help enforce that.
Obviously, a curfew by a city is something that the city has passed, and they believe benefits the children and the city. Obviously, some people disagree with that, but the purpose of that is to ensure the children are home and in bed or off the streets and not doing things that may cause them to end up in a situation that could change their life in a drastic way. The main thing you have to understand is you need to check with your local city or local ordinances and see what time that ordinance may say that the curfew is in effect and for what ages. It could be up to 18, it could be 16, it just depends on the city and just depends on what they passed in that city or local town.
All right, being proactive is obviously the message here. Jeff, we appreciate your perspective. As always, if you have a question for him, you can send it to us at legalline@wcbi.com. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me.
All right, a canine in our area at the Clay County Sheriff's Department, in fact, is getting some new protective body armor. This is Spike. He will be getting a bullet and stab protective vest. The vest is being donated by the nonprofit organization Vested Interest in Canines and is sponsored by the National Police Association. The vest is important for Spike to help protect him while he is working.
They're very expensive for the simple fact of the protection that they offer. Essentially say a suspect were to stab Spike, that vest would protect him and his vital organs. And they are fitted to a T, so they're able to run and function like a normal working dog should be able to function with a vest.
And that new vest for Spike should arrive in about 8 weeks.
Good deal. Got to keep Spike safe out there in the field. Sunny skies here this afternoon, not only in West Alabama, but also northeast Mississippi. That low that was causing the clouds and rain for the past couple days moved off a little bit further to the south, so we're not as worried about that now. And we really have a couple more days of sunshine before we kind of creep some rain chances back into the forecast. I'll tell you about that after a while in the full forecast, but for now, this evening's looking beautiful. Temperatures going from the low 80s right now into the 70s later this evening and eventually down into the upper 50s. So nice and cool and comfortable with that lower humidity. If you can get outside this evening to enjoy the nice weather, I recommend doing so. Andrea?
All right, Dylan, thanks a lot. There's an important deadline looming for people who suffered damage from the March tornadoes in Carroll, Montgomery, Monroe, Panola, and Sharkey counties. Tomorrow, the 24th of May, is the last day to apply for federal disaster assistance. The deadline is at 11:59 p.m. Now, homeowners and renters in those areas who have uninsured or underinsured storm-related losses may be able to get federal assistance for things like temporary housing, expenses, basic home repairs, or other essential disaster-related needs that are not covered by insurance. If you think you qualify and you have not already applied, go to disasterassistance.gov, or you can call the FEMA helpline. That number is there on your screen, 800-621-3362. You can call from 6 a.m. until midnight. The American Red Cross and the state continue to shelter more than 400 displaced residents. Amory tornado survivors who have about a week and a half to pick up debris. Contractors that are working for the city will not pick up rubble on the roadside after June 5th. The city says everyone should start the final stages of cleanup as soon as possible. Types of debris must be separated into piles and then put on the edge of the road. If you have any debris out that has not been picked up, call the number there on your screen and choose option 2.